Hello, this is Matt on the Moon Lambo channel. Everything is up today, and I'm not just talking about crypto. Isn't it funny how that works at times? Multiple asset classes and assets moving up in tandem. How about that idea of a Bitcoin as a hedge against tumultuous times? Well, it certainly hasn't behaved like that to this point. Maybe it will at some point in the future. I don't know for sure. It sure as hell isn't behaving like that now. But even so, it's fascinating seeing what's been happening. Market's looking rather green today. Just about every crypto chart on the planet looking about the same structurally, just up here. In fact, I've got the top 12 cryptos by market cap on the screen. If you throw out the several stable coins out, look at the charts for the rest of them, they're the same chart just about. Everything just moving in tandem. It's not about fundamentals. It's not about utility. And this is happening also as another platform has halted operations. Let's say there's a company called Vald, and the news on this actually broke a couple days ago. But it's just interesting to see that participants in crypto right now, and fine, everything's moving together, including other asset classes, but people seem to not care that there could be more effects, because people in the space, and understandably so, they've been saying that there's a contagion in this space because somebody could lend out crypto to somebody else, and then they are now owed a certain percentage, but then that firm that took that loan, now they loan it out to somebody else, and then they promise somebody else interest, and maybe it could be their customers if they're a lending platform, right? The interest is owed to all these people. Now, mind you, there's been nothing of actual economic value created, but a whole bunch of interest is earned. So where's the money coming from? Well, increasingly risky bets in a highly speculative and volatile crypto market. That's the answer. And so as prices were going up, hey, it's fine. Looks like it's just go on forever. But then when the collateral becomes worth substantially less, you can no longer pay those interest rates. And you get this cascading effect. That's why when they're talking about a contagion, it's because everything interoperates with the next thing. And so you had this platform called Vald. They're the latest. They may or may not be the last. I wouldn't be surprised if they're not the last. And then there have been a certain amount of bailouts. In fact, they may get bailed out. But it's just interesting seeing that despite all of this and the tremendous negative emotional perspective from the typical retail investor, despite all of this, there are just absolute fortunes to be made. And I still think the average person doesn't understand. The average XRP holder, maybe you listening know this, but I'm not sure if the average XRP holder has any earthly idea of what it is to hold XRP so early on in 2022. This is the nascency of the asset class. But before sharing additional ideas, I do want to be clear that I do not have a financial background of any kind. I'm not offering financial advice, and you definitely should not buy or sell anything because of anything I say or write. I'm just an enthusiast who makes YouTube videos about crypto topics, but just as a hobby and just for fun. So I record this XRP. It's at 35 cents, up close to 7%, and it's actually in the top 10, the second best performer in the last 24 hours, second only to Bitcoin, which is currently up 7.42%. You have Bitcoin at $21,952, and it actually did peek its head briefly above $22,000. And then you got here the Crypto Fear and Greed Index at 20 out of 100, which is still classified as extreme fear for your typical retail speculator. But I saw 20, I was like, oh, they're getting less afraid. Good for them. Good for them, of course. Although I always say, yes, at some unknown point in the future, that's going to flip to extreme greed. I don't know that the numbers going to continue to head that way indefinitely. I think there's going to be a lot more uncertainty in the coming weeks and months. Don't be surprised if that goes a bit lower before getting a lot better at some point. But while all this is happening, it's worth looking at this. This is just the XRP Scan website. And this chart right here in the middle of your screen titled Number of Transactions Executed, it's worth noting that regardless of the price of XRP, the blockchain, the XRP blockchain, it just keeps on a ticking. Block after block after block after block. Closed and closed and closed and so on and so forth. And adoption continues. Real world utility. So while people are hyper-focused on the short-term price action of assets, I prefer, my strong preference is to take a bit more of a zoomed-out approach. There are other things that matter. And XRP functionally works. It's one of the only cryptocurrencies on the planet that doesn't have scaling issues, It's just amazing stuff here. Now, here's a tweet from TXMC, who does all sorts of awesome analysis, including, certainly crypto, but other markets as well. And here, I'll just make this full screen for you because he shared a screen grab himself. But he wrote, everything is green at once. weird day. And you can see some of what he's listed here. There's obviously Bitcoin right at the top, but then you've got Dow Jones, you've got the dollar index, you've got gold, you've got crude oil, you've got the S&P 500. Everything just happens to be up. Despite the tumultuous times that we find ourselves in right now, it's just fascinating. You don't normally see that correlation quite that tight down to the actual day for all of these things, which is why he, I think, rightfully pointed out this is a weird day. But you understand, like, all of these things on your screen are not going to cease to exist. If you fast forward, pick your time frame, but make it a long time frame. It's a decade or two. All of this is going to be way, way, way up, right? Throw out the dollar index, but pick an asset relative to the United States dollar, okay? That's what I'm saying. And then there was this from on-chain analyst Will Clemente, who wrote, long-term, it's incredibly positive to flush out all of this over-leveraged Ponzi garbage. By the end of this, only the genuine, good-faith actors will remain that are here to push the space forward, not leech off it and give a bad reputation. Nature is healing. So I thought that was a good tweet from him, and I do generally agree. It's not like I am thrilled to see people hurting who get caught up in these bad things, but the bad things do need to go away, and it's happening. It's just a really, really, really messy process. Here's a new article from the Economic Times from today, titled, "A Look at What Went Wrong with Vaults." This is the company I was citing earlier on in the video. It's another lending platform that just decided to stop operations. Vault, a crypto lending platform, has halted its operations. Due to this, investors are not able to make deposits, withdraw, or trade. However, this is not the end game for the company as of now. And here's a quote. "This is due to a combination of circumstances such as the volatile market conditions, the financial difficulties of our key business partners inevitably affecting us, and the current market climate," said Chief Executive Officer Darshan Bhattacharya, whose name I probably butchered, in a statement on the company's website. Yeah, exactly. The domino effect. Everybody making riskier bets, and then riskier bets, and then even riskier bets. It's completely outrageous. And where's the accountability for all this? There seems to be minimal accountability for a lot of this. Now, on this front, though, it does seem as though Vault may actually be saved. Here's a headline from CNBC. "Crypto lender Nexo offers to buy embattled rival Vault as market consolidates." Yeah, there's plenty of consolidation here. That ain't no joke. But look, here's the official Twitter account of Vault. 20,900 followers. That is very small for a lending platform. This is a tiny organization. It's not surprising to see that they're among the first to the go. You would expect the larger ones with deeper pockets, unless they're making the most outrageous trades, they would be less likely to go. But even then, there are some massive ones. I get it. Like, look at Three Arrows Capital. How many billions of dollars did they have in assets under management? And they screwed it. They screwed it up. But still, look at it's just amazing. You give up the keys to your crypto, risking everything for like 7% return. It's never going to make sense to me. Which is why, and I have been saying that for years and years on end. If you've been following me since the earliest days of me running this YouTube channel, Moon Lambo, with a silly ass name, I've been saying that. It's like, why would you give up the keys to your crypto for the tiniest percentage gains? And this may not be the end. So there is this article from Crypto Potato titled, "More liquidation ahead before the crypto market recovers." And so I won't be surprised to see this over. I don't want to read the article, but they talk about the crisis probably not being over yet. But the official Cumberland Twitter account did share the following, which I thought was worth reading, because they had a pretty salient point here in that, yes, what we're seeing with crypto, it's the first time we've seen things quite like this in crypto specifically, but people behaving the way that they're behaving is a tale as old as time. And so they tweeted out the following just a couple days ago. "The assets of these companies will, at some point, need to be liquidated in order to partially offset their outstanding liabilities. Uncertainty around the size and timing of these asset sales is hanging over the market like a cloud. This is hardly a novel phenomenon. Excessively levered finance companies have been punished in bear markets for hundreds of years. While this current cycle raises eyebrows because the assets are digital, the underlying economics are no different than the examples in textbooks." Here. That's it. Yes. And that's a message that I've been conveying as well. And so it's just kind of refreshing to see that articulated so well. There's nothing, it's just the type of asset is the only thing that's different, but that has nothing to do with the nature of humanity. That's what I'm saying. Humans are humans, same DNA, whether they're speculating are causing disaster in one asset class or another. It doesn't matter. Humans are humans. And then there was this from Credible Crypto, and I like this short thread because it's kind of thought-provoking, but it speaks to the degree to which we truly are early, which is why if you think about what I was saying earlier about you owning XRP in 2022, congratulations for finding out it exists before almost everyone else on the planet, because way less than 1% of humans have ever held XRP. I'd have to look at the number. I tried to crunch it based on publicly available information, and it's an imperfect crunch, I admit that, but it was something like, 0.005% of humans. It was like infinitesimally small, almost nobody. Yet here we are, and it's one of the only cryptos actually being purchased, and that's not going to be worth something substantial in the future? No, I think it's just early. But take a look at this. This is from chart analyst Credible Crypto. He said, internet use surged from 77 million in 1996 to 412 million in 2000. By 2010, internet use had grown to 1.98 billion and today sits at 4.9 billion. The number of global crypto users reached 221 million in June 2021. You're early AF, be patient. Bitcoin. And so he's right there. Think about this. So from 1996, 77 million people using the internet, and today you've got 4.9 billion. And so it crept up a year after year after year after year to the point where we now have over half of humans in existence using the internet, which is something that seemed impossible back in the day. But you're going to see that with crypto as well, because it's going to be functionally useful. There will be more people using crypto than people who hold stocks, because stocks don't have utility. They're just a thing that represents value because it represents ownership in a company, right? That's different than crypto. Crypto is the one that will be functionally useful. They're going to be widespread, and they're going to be worth a lot. And there's a finite quantity of many of them, including Bitcoin and XRP. There's a finite quantity. In fact, XRP, it literally has deflation coded into it. Bitcoin doesn't, by the way. You can argue Bitcoin's effectively deflationary because over time more and more Bitcoin will be lost, and that part's true, but it doesn't have deflation literally coded into it like the XRP ledger does. It's just a factor, a thing worth being aware of. You are early AF indeed. Now, somebody didn't seem to quite be on the same page as Credible Crypto. That's fine. I like diversity of thought. This guy named JB wrote to Credible Crypto and said, use it how? Using the internet to transact information is something tangible. What percent of these uses is just speculative buys because number go up, bro? So that's a fair critique. I've said many times, the vast majority of transactions obviously are worthless, and there's minimal utility in the space. And I admit that. So it's reasonable to bring that up, but I still think Credible Crypto's point stands. It's still early, and there is utility, and there will be increasing utility over time. That's my personal perspective. So Credible Crypto responded and wrote, regardless of if it's just speculative buys, that doesn't change the fact that 95% of the world hasn't even speculatively bought yet. Yeah, so I'm in line with that thinking. And then JB responded though and wrote, yeah, maybe after the global credit bubble bursts, we'll see how much speculation comes back. How long can crypto last without actual real world demand where it outputs productivity, not just bubble cycles? So I was pausing up. That's now he's getting a little off course. It's fair to pose the question, but he's off course because if he's paying attention, he would see that even though almost no crypto transactions represent real world utility, if he looked closely, he'd see that utility is consistently increasing over time. And so if there's something useful, humans don't just discard that. The adoption just gets further and further and further along, and then it increases at an exponential rate. That's what if you've ever looked at a freaking technology bell curve, which I bring up from time to time, then you know what I'm talking about here. It goes exponential. And then there are the laggards who don't like to adopt, and most of them ultimately do too. But just because it's not happening on whatever timeline would be convincing to you, it doesn't mean it's not happening. You just need to look at the data. So Incredible Crypto responded to that and said, any new tech adoption / utility / usage takes time. The internet was invented in 1983, and 12 years later, only less than 1% of the world was using it. If you understand the tech behind crypto, I'm sure you understand its potential real-world applications given enough time to develop. Yes, golf clap for Credible Crypto, everybody. Think about that. Internet invented in 1983. 12 years later, less than 1% of the world was using it. Think about this. XRP, now been around for just over a decade. Way less than 1% of the world has ever held it at any point in time. But if you look at the metrics in terms of adoption, it's mind-blowing. That's going through the roof, but almost nobody's ever even touched it. Crazy stuff, right? Oh, I'm so happy I'm in crypto. I am so happy. I know that even on the days where price is down, I just don't care. It doesn't wreck my mood. I don't have a negative emotional response to this because I just understand it's to be expected, and then I just don't care. But man, I have a fun time tracking all this, and it's so interesting to just kind of like people watch on social media. Some people do a better job of like maintaining their chill than others, let's say. And I get it. It's like to the people that are hurting financially, and as a result, they're feeling the emotions. It's not like I'm thrilled that they're not feeling well. I'm a human too. I don't want people to feel bad, but we're also adults, and you get to make your own decisions and arm yourself with whatever data to make your own buying or selling, holding decisions, whatever it may be, or to choose to not participate, whatever. And we're all adults. We all get to make these choices. And some people just go in way over their heads, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. And they use leverage. It's just exciting times ahead. It'll be really cool to see where we're at by the end of the year. I guess I'll share one more thing before wrapping the video. Take a look at this. This is a tweet from, there's a tweet from chart analyst Kaleo. And I'll read that first because that was retweeted by Credible Crypto. So chart analyst Kaleo just yesterday wrote, late 2024/early 2025, we finally see a new Bitcoin all-time high and six-figure Bitcoin. The NFT craze in 2025 and 2026 will be unlike anything we've ever seen before. Well, let me just pause and note. If he's right, in particular about the NFT craze, well before that, XLS 20 should have been adopted, the amendment for the XRP ledger, if it's going to pass, right? So functionality for the XRP ledger in terms of NFTs will be prime. So I hope that's correct. It'd be neat if it happened even sooner, but I'm just saying. So he thinks that you're going to have to wait a bit longer to see Bitcoin pop up to those levels. But many analysts that I follow think it's going to happen much sooner, including Credible Crypto, who wrote, still expecting a new all-time high and six-figure Bitcoin by 2023, and believe we are likely back on our way down in 2024 and 2025, and in the depths of a bigger bear market than most have ever seen at that point. Kudos to Kaleo. If he is right and I'm wrong, time will tell. So there you go. So he's optimistic that, I actually could see a lot more positive. He's saying that too, like by the end of this year even. But might not have to wait until too much longer until you start seeing things pop up. And look, I don't pretend to know when's going to happen, but as far as I'm concerned, it is just a matter of time. I'm not a financial advisor. You should not buy or sell anything because of anything that I say or write. That would be a very, very, very bad idea. Until next time, to the moon, Lambo.